Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the hidden war being waged inside your walls. It's a constant battle between your home and the environment, and your comfort is caught right in the middle.
Oh yeah, that feeling, that moment of absolute panic every homeowner knows and dreads. But what if I told you this crisis isn't just random bad luck? It's actually the predictable, final act of a long, invisible struggle. So let's uncover the forces that lead to this exact moment.
To really get what's going on, we need a kind of laboratory. And for our purposes, that lab is Commerce City, Colorado. This place has it's a perfect storm of environmental challenges that pushes home heating and cooling systems to their absolute limits. It's the ideal spot to see what our homes are really up against.
And it all starts with this one number, 5,130 feet. Now that's not just a random geographic fact. It's really the first major clue in our investigation. At this altitude, the very air your house breathes is fundamentally different, and that puts this enormous unseen strain on your most critical equipment.
So what does that really mean? Well, the air is just thinner. There's less of it. So your air conditioner is working against lower pressure, and your furnace is struggling with less oxygen to ignite. Essentially, both of your systems are running a marathon every single day, and that just wears them out way faster.
Let's keep going, though, because altitude, that's only the beginning of the story. There's a whole host of other environmental factors, all working together to launch an attack on your home's comfort systems.
Okay, next up is an attacker you can actually feel, these insane temperature swings. Just imagine your HVAC system being forced to crank out heat in the morning, and then just a few hours later, it has to switch over to air conditioning in the afternoon. This constant back and forth puts incredible stress on the electrical parts, wearing them out so much faster than they would in a more stable climate.
And the assault just keeps on coming. You've got intense high-altitude sun that breaks down the plastics and protective coatings on your outside unit. Then you have dust and minerals in the air and water that literally eat away at the metal coils. And of course, those deep winter freezes can physically crack vital parts of your furnace. It's a true multi-front war.
Now here's what's really fascinating. The environment isn't the only enemy here. The actual history of how our homes were built creates its own set of problems. See, a lot of older homes have ductwork that's just too small, and it basically chokes modern systems. Meanwhile, newer homes have all these complex electronics that are super sensitive to all this environmental stress.
So what happens when you smash together these environmental attacks with the specific design of your house? Well, the failures, they aren't random at all. In fact, they become incredibly predictable. Let's connect the dots.
This is where it all clicks into place. You can draw a straight line from a specific cause to a specific effect. Remember that choked, undersized ductwork from the 70s? That directly leads to frozen coils on your AC. Those crazy temperature swings? Yep, they burn out the electrical capacitors. Age and corrosion? You end up with cracked furnaces and refrigerant leaks. See? Every problem has an origin story.
Okay, so we've seen all the ways things can go wrong. And I know that might sound a little discouraging, but look, understanding the problem is the first step to fixing it. So let's pull back the curtain on the professional repair process because it's actually much more straightforward than you might think.
Really, it just boils down to these 3 simple steps. First, a pro uses actual diagnostic tools, no guesswork, to find the real root cause. Second, you get a firm upfront price, no surprises. And third, after the repair is done, they test the whole system to make absolutely sure the problem is solved. It's a process designed to give you clarity and control.
But what's the absolute best way to avoid that whole 3-step repair process in the first place? Well, it turns out the answer is pretty simple: prevention. The source material shows that routine maintenance, just getting the system cleaned and checked out regularly, can prevent a staggering 80% of those emergency breakdowns. It's the single most effective defense you have.
Of course, even with great maintenance, systems get old. And eventually, you're going to face that big, expensive question. When a major part fails on an aging system, do you sink more money into fixing it, or is it finally time to just replace the whole thing?
The source material gives us a surprisingly simple formula to help make that call. It's called the $5,000 rule. All you do is multiply the cost of the repair by the age of your system in years. If that number comes out to less than $5,000, a repair is usually a pretty good bet. But if it's over $5,000, like in that second example, well, you're probably better off putting that cash toward a new system.
So, we've been using Commerce City as our big case study here, but the real takeaway, this story isn't just about one town. It's about understanding that every single home, including yours, is fighting its own unique environmental battle.
It doesn't matter if you live in a high-altitude desert, a humid coastal city, or a freezing northern town. There are invisible forces at work. Your local weather, the age of your house, even your specific neighborhood. They're all writing the story of your home's health. And understanding those forces is the key to winning the battle. And that leaves us with one final thought. The next time you're walking through your home, just think about its unique story for a second. What are those unseen challenges, the sun, the wind, the humidity, the history, that are shaping its life? Because knowing your enemy, that's the first step to making sure you have a safe and comfortable home for years to come.